Okay guys, so it is finally here. After several long months, the reel that I was the most excited about from this past iCast has arrived. And of course is the Abu Garcia Revo Exd. Now it's been out, I think, a couple of weeks now, but I wanted to wait until the Black Friday sale at Tackle Warehouse to save some money because this reel is not cheap. Alright, so let's get to unboxing. Now of course, I believe EXD stands for extreme distance or extra long distance or whatever, but that should tell you what this reel is made for. Alright, typical classy Abu Garcia box, and of course most Abu Garcias, if not all, come with foam protection. Alright, here we go. The Revo Exd. Smaller than I thought it would be. Let you guys take a good look at this thing. But first, it does come with an extra spool. Let's see what else it comes with. Then of course the paperwork underneath, but strangely enough no kind of oil, but that's okay. Alright, let's take a look at this black and purple reel. Let you guys take a good look at it. Gonna spin it all around for you guys. Maybe you can tell the difference between this reel versus other Abu Garcia Revos. But yeah, there we go. Revo Exd. I'm going to do my customary inspection, check for the details and little quirks and whatnot, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, so I've given the Revo Exd a thorough look over, and before we get into the notable features, let's talk about the basic specs for all you guys who are too lazy to look that shit up. Alright, so it's got an aluminum frame, it's got C6 carbon side plates, so that means the handle and the palm side plate are C6 carbon. It's got a 90mm swept carbon fiber handle. It's got what they call the Duraclutch design, which is the thumb bar, and luckily for right now it seems like the thumb bar feels solid. I've had problems on other Revo 4s where the thumb bar is mushy, and then even when it's depressed there's movement that kind of throws me off when I'm casting them. So far so good with the Exd. It's got the Power Stack carbon matrix drag system, but there's no number or final number as to what the ultimate stopping power is. But since this is an Abu Garcia, I'm sure it's up there, probably at least 18 to 20 pounds. Now it's got the D2 gear design, basically an oversized main gear that's made of brass. It's got that lube port right here, and it says it has a titanium coated line guide. Oh yeah, one more thing, it's got 10+1 bearings. So those are your basic specs. So now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about the notable features on this reel. Okay, so to show you the main notable feature that I saw in this new Revo Exd, I had to bring out one of my Revo 4s, and I brought out the current Revo X. Now this Revo Exd is actually based off of a previously only JDM frame called the Roxani, and Abu Garcia Japan's website shows the Roxani line as being like one step below the Revo line. So I was curious as to why they picked the Roxani frame over the current Revo 4 frame. As you can see, they look to be about the same width, but the Revo Exd, which is based off the Roxani frame, is actually a little bit longer. It's a little bit pointier, and the side plate definitely is more detailed. And I think they did that because I did a unscientific finger measurement, but the line guide on the Revo Exd and Roxani frame actually sticks out a little bit farther, not by much, only a couple of millimeters, but that should aid in casting distance, which is what this reel is all about. So I believe that is why they decided to go with this frame versus this frame. Alright, so another notable feature is, as you saw, it came with this extra shallow spool that's supposed to be lightweight. But let's take a look at this spool here. It's got a different kind of brake design, and I'm going to pull out actually I have it right here. Here's the stock spool for the Revo X. And as you can see, it doesn't have any kind of extra plate here like the Revo Exd, this red plate. So it looks like they're trying to give it stronger braking force, since that metal plate is going to be sticking closer to the magnets. And speaking of which, the Revo Exd actually comes with more magnets than the Revo X. So you got your standard Korean style mag track system, but with the Revo X, and I think all the other magnetic brake Revos, you only got 5 magnets there, while with the EXD you got 10. So kind of strange that they are trying to give this thing more braking, but it's supposed to be made for long casting. I'm definitely gonna test that theory out. And also you can see with the other stock spool, they are going with the short Infinity 2 spool shaft, while of course most of the Revo 4s have the long spool shaft until you get up into the more expensive Revos. Alright, so another kind of a weird thing is that the spool tension does click, and it feels a lot more precise than the spool tension clicker on the Revo X, thank God. And the star drag, of course, clicks, but the brake adjustment does not click, which I really don't care, but it does feel kind of unrefined. So I don't know if this is a reject that somehow got past the final inspection, but I didn't get this off of eBay. I actually got this from Taco Warehouse, so maybe that was done intentionally, but the brake dial does not click. So if any of you guys have a Revo Exd, let me know if this clicks on yours or not, because if it's supposed to click, I think I'll send this back and exchange this one for a non-defective one. But overall, it's a good looking reel. You can see it's got the carbon fiber little inlay there with the purple accents all over the place. This is a different shade of purple, it looks like. It almost looks pink. But yeah, it's a good looking reel, and I am glad they included this extra shallow spool, because the Revo Exd is not cheap at $300. So this gives it a lot more versatility. And of course, I'm going to pull the scale out and we're going to get some weights. Okay, so of course I got my scale out, and Abu Garcia says this Revo Exd is supposed to weigh in at 6.7 ounces. and it looks a little bit heavier at 6.837 ounces. But that's still a lot lighter than a lot of the Revo 4s they have. I have the Revo 4X and the Revo 4 STX, and those reels I think weigh close to 8 ounces, so that is significantly lighter, which is a plus. Alright, so let's weigh these spools now. So they're supposed to come with 2 lightweight spools, the deeper one right here, and then of course the shallow one that should be pretty decent for upper end bait finesse duties. Okay, so of course they have spool bearings, and it looks like these spool shafts are made of aluminum more than likely. Alright, so the stock deep spool weighing in at 12.8 grams, that's pretty light. And then the shallow spool weighs in a little bit lighter at 11.6. So let me show you guys the difference in spool depth between these two. So one looks to hold about double the line capacity of the other. But since I'm the most thorough tackle tester on YouTube, I'm going to take these bearings off and get an actual weight on the rotational mass of these spools. Okay, spool bearings are off, and here's the deep spool without the bearing. Rotational mass is 11.17, so pretty much 11.2 grams. So that's pretty light. Now, just to put that in context, a competitor reel from Shimano, something that's priced similar, say the Chronarch MGL, I believe has a 13.8 gram spool. And this is even lighter than the $420 Titanium MGL, which I believe has about a 12.5 gram spool. Alright, so what about this shallow bait finesse spool? Right around 10 grams. So I predict this would be good for, you know, lure weights of down to 1/8 of an ounce, but anything below that, it may struggle. But here's the thing. What makes this reel tuned for extra long distance casting is that Abu Garcia states that these have special EXD or extreme distance bearings. So one right here and one right here. And they don't give any other detail about why these bearings are special other than they named them EXD bearings. So I don't think they're ceramic. They don't make any kind of noise. They're really smooth. So I wish they would have given us more detail as to what makes these bearings so special. But it is what it is. And one last thing that really makes me feel better about this purchase is that I discovered this spool is 35 millimeters. So that's really going to aid in long distance casting. Now here's the standard Revo 4 spool, which is 33 millimeters, and you can see that it is noticeably smaller in diameter. And then here's the spool of a Titanium MGL, which is 34 millimeters. And might be hard to tell, but it is a little smaller. Now I know it is because I tried to fit this spool in the Titanium. It didn't fit, but it fit into a reel that has a 35 millimeter spool, and that is the Quantum Accurist PT, the old one. And it fits right in. So yeah, 35 millimeter spool. That makes me feel a lot better about buying this reel. And I'll be honest, if this thing wasn't made for long distance casting, I wouldn't have bought it even if it came with that shallow spool. But we are going to see what this thing's all about. We're going to see if the spool, the new braking system, the EXD bearings will make this reel a long bomber. Now, I've read literature about Abu Garcia taking some of their pros and having a distance contest, and I've seen a video on it, but it looks like they were casting a casting plug instead of a real lure. So I'm going to take this Revo Exd out on the water, see what it's about, and share that with you guys. Alright guys, thanks a lot.